life. I'm now, 52 years old, and I cannot have imagined having visited so many places. I would be a much different person if I hadn't traveled, if I hadn't been able to see different cultures and try to understand them from a historical perspective or from other perspectives. And I think that it makes us actually more human when we can actually see others who are not quite like us, and we try to find some common threads that bind us together. In my parents' generation, when they went to the United States, this is back in the 1960s, Asian Americans did not really have that many options. I mean, most of the Asian Americans wound up in professions like restaurants and laundries and tailoring. I grew up in a very small community. I was the only, my sister and I were the only Chinese Americans, we were only Asians in our school. So when I was younger, I really didn't have a chance to go around the world and to see all of these things that people thought were the most magnificent things to see. And so I committed myself. That's what I wanted to do. I wanted to see so much of the world. But anyway, to answer your original question, no, I did not always want to be a diplomat. I wanted to be a baseball player. I failed at that. I was not good enough, obviously. But even before that, I always liked to write, and I always liked to communicate. And so I wanted to become actually a journalist. And that's how I originally met my wife. And after, it was about a year and a half being a reporter, I went into the State Department. I think we all experience, I don't know if we would use the word discrimination as much. And it does leave you with some scars, it leaves you with lessons, but I don't think, in my view anyway, I've tried not to bear any kind of grudges, and trying to understand the outside world is one thing that I've tried to do as a result. But I'm the first Asian American to be AIT director. I was also the first Deputy Assistant Secretary of State of Chinese descent to oversee China and Taiwan affairs. And so I am always aware that being the first one to do something, it means something to other people. And I feel the responsibility to make sure that I try to give back to communities that have helped nurture me, or communities that have helped me along the way. When we came here about 3 years ago, one of our principal goals was to deliver a message to the people of Taiwan of reassurance, to try to show them a side of the United States that maybe they had taken for granted. We wanted to make sure that people understood that the United States and the American people were really supportive of Taiwan and Taiwan's people. And I think for people to understand here that AIT is not a fortress, that it's not a cold place, that it's not a place that's trying to keep people away. In fact, we want more and more people to come to the United States, to be friendly with Americans, and we're trying to do everything we can to show our real selves here. When my wife and I first arrived here about 3 years ago, we had not been here for probably more than 20 years. Taiwan seemed less international than it did before. Not sure exactly what the reasons, but I think it also has to do with kind of international isolation too. And so that has been one of my regrets, is seeing that development over time. I very much understand how people want to learn about their own culture and have more of a feeling of identity with where they come from. But I also think quite strongly, and this comes from my own background and the way that I grew up and the way I was educated, that there needs to be kind of a greater international understanding here. I think the other area I would say You know, Taiwan faces a unique set of challenges in the world today. And so when I leave here, I think that that's one thing that I will tell people about Taiwan is that it faces these unique challenges, and yet it still manages to persevere. And I would encourage more people to become knowledgeable about Taiwan. When people ask me what I'll miss the most, I think it actually will be the warmth of the people here. You know, I'm still trying to look for an example of somebody who can be rude to me. You know, I've challenged people to actually be mean to me, but I just think that people here are just very, very kind-hearted, and they're very, you know, they've opened up their arms to our family, and it doesn't matter how frustrating we are for other people to do. They're always polite, they're always kind. The unique flavor of Taiwan here is the people who are just so open to others.